team that's looking to get over the hump and trying to compete at a championship level, and your coach falls short during this postseason, why would you not consider hiring the greatest coach of all time? And I get it, Belichick might be there for a good time, not a long time, but you just want to get a championship. And if you have a roster that allow you to compete now, why would you take a risk on a coach that may be unproven in that regard, or somebody that hasn't done it in a long time versus the greatest tactician that the NFL has ever seen?
Yeah, if it's a team that has a lot of pieces in place and you really feel like you've come up short, but that you are in your window to win a championship, why wouldn't you go out and get Bill Belichick? Now, like Cece said, not for a long time. I'm thinking maybe 2-3 years tops that you're looking at this as we have a very small window to get this done. He's hungry. He obviously is proving himself, which sounds crazy to think that Bill Belichick is going to have to prove himself, but he's going into a new organization. He's chasing the all-time wins record, and he is probably wanting to prove that he still has a lot in the tank and that it's him that's responsible for a lot of the Patriots' success.
I'm curious about that, Smalls, because you just said something. You think he still has to prove something? Like, if he steps into a locker room and he's in front of the players, do you feel like he still has to prove something?
Maybe not to the players, but I think he probably feels that to himself.
Sure, I agree with that. Yeah.
When you're thinking about the way that the Patriots dynasty ended, he moved on from Tom Brady. Tom Brady went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl. And Bill Belichick wanted to move on from Tom Brady before they moved on from Tom Brady. Yeah. And a lot of people point to Belichick and say, well, you're a lot of the reason why the success was had. You also ended it because you moved on from him too quickly. Everyone wants to give Tom Brady all or most of the credit for what happened in New England. So I think Bill Belichick has a chip on his shoulder, which sounds crazy as someone who's had that much success in the National Football League. And he's thinking, okay, you want to doubt me? Okay, you think it was all Tom Brady? Let me go somewhere else and win and prove to you that I'm the football genius behind all of this.
I totally get what you're saying, but this is where it drives me crazy. Like, he gives Brady all the credit all the time. He said it in the press conference yesterday, players win. He never shies away from that stuff. I think we make it into that more than maybe he does, at least in my opinion.
But now, we're human beings, though, Evan. He hears all the noise. He knows that everybody is saying, well, Tom Brady left and had success, and when Tom Brady left, you didn't. You couldn't get it done without him. He knows what everybody says about him.
But it's also on Kraft now, too. I mean, when we say that Belichick said goodbye to Brady, so did Kraft, and now Kraft has said goodbye to Belichick. Now, most people, the two of you included, believe Belichick and Kraft were wrong the first time to say goodbye to Brady, but they're right this time in saying goodbye at the time for with Belichick. Now, Adam Schefter, ESPN senior NFL insider, had this about Belichick looming over the postseason.
I think the board is wide open, and I think today's developments could lead to other changes, potentially, whether that's with a team in the playoffs or out of the playoffs. We will see. But that's going to be something that all owners have to decide. And I think as the playoffs get underway this weekend, to a certain extent, Bill Belichick looms over them. Because if there's a team that falls on its face and falls flat, then that owner knows that there's quite an accomplished, proven coach out there right now. And I think Bill Belichick knows from his previous experiences with Tom Brady and post-Tom Brady, it's important for him to have a quarterback, and I don't know that he goes to a place that doesn't have one.
Let's name names. Who needs to win this weekend?
Oh, Sean McDermott, Mike McCarthy, and Nick Sirianni. Like, I'd be shocked if he's talking about anybody else. Like, those are all of the teams that came into the season with Super Bowl expectations. And if you get bounced in the wild card round, then that's a problem. Now, since we went to this current playoff format with 7 teams and eliminating one of the bye weeks in each conference for the second seed, no second seed has lost in this format. So if you're the Bills and you lose at home to the Steelers, quarterbacked by Mason Rudolph, or if you're the Green Bay Packers, if you're the Dallas Cowboys and you lose to the Green Bay Packers, who have the youngest team in the NFL, who have the youngest playoff team since 1974, who's starting a quarterback in his first season as the full-time guy, if you lose to those people at home, then I could absolutely see those organizations, those owners, making a decision to fire their current head coach and upgrade to Bill Belichick. And I don't think it's debatable whether or not Bill Belichick, the coach, is an upgrade. I think people will argue, okay, Belichick and the organization from a personnel standpoint, maybe not the best, especially of recent, but there's no argument to be made about whether or not he's a better coach than Mike McCarthy, whether or not he's a better coach than Sean McDermott, whether or not he's a better coach than Nick Sirianni.
I don't think those three guys would argue.
No, of course not.
They would say, of course he's better than us, but we don't deserve to lose our job is what they would say.
Here's the crazy thing, Ev, and I couldn't believe this stat when I saw it by Shefty per our own Hembo. During Belichick's 24-year tenure as the Patriots head coach, there have been 162 coaches that have been fired across the 31 other teams with 224 individual coaching stints.
Matt Eberflus is back with the Bears.
That is wild to me.
Yeah.
But that just shows you how good Bill Belichick is. So if you're a team that has a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to hire the greatest coach in NFL history, how could you forego that for the promise that is your coach that came up short on Wild Card Weekend?
Is there one team that sticks out to you guys out of that crop? Because that's the group. But to me, it's Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys. He has been excellent this year.
Yeah.
He has helped Dak be excellent this year. Dak was in the MVP conversation this year. They have that synergy with one another. Mike McCarthy is a proven Super Bowl caliber coach. Like, he is a great coach. But Jerry Jones is not getting any younger. The Dallas Cowboys have an interesting financial puzzle after this season. They're going to have to pay a lot of guys. Ooh. The window is very short. And Jerry Jones is so desperate to win. And so I could absolutely – and the Packers are so dangerous to me because of everything you just outlined, CeCe. They have nothing to lose. They're a young team on the ascension.
And they don't know any better.
Exactly. And they've already done what their job was this season, which is to prove that Jordan Love is the guy and to prove that it was the right decision in moving on from Aaron Rodgers. Everything else now is just the icing on the cake if you're the Green Bay Packers, which makes them very dangerous to me, even though Dallas has been dominant at home. But if I just close my eyes and I can prognosticate this, I can absolutely see the Packers upsetting the Cowboys at home, Jerry Jones getting furious. He can't move on from Dak, so Mike McCarthy is the sacrificial lamb, and he goes out there and he brings in Bill Belichick.
All fair. I'm going to answer your question, and I'm going to throw something else at you. I think that of those three, the one that to me is the juiciest is Philly. Because Jalen Hurts has that Brady-like mentality, that Belichick-Saban-like mentality of nothing affects him. He talks to no one, and he's just about doing his job. I can't imagine Belichick watches Jalen Hurts and doesn't love him in terms of the who behind him.
Did Jalen Hurts throw Nick Sirianni under the bus? What he said?
We can play that coming up. Yeah, we can get into that because
I just wanted to ask the question.
When they're changing plays, he went Jameis on you, basically, when he's changing plays.
Well, not just that, about what happened in Week 18 against the New York Giants with the injury. Interesting.
We will get to that. So that's of this weekend, right? We've brought up the idea of Jacksonville because let's again focus on what CeCe said. We're talking about the greatest coach of all time and a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now let's combine what Small said about something to prove. I would vote this person coach of the year this year. But if Cleveland loses on the road at Houston, is there any more full circle moment than Bill Belichick finishing his career in the one place that he was not successful?
How are you going to fire the guy that you think should be coach of the year?
We've seen it done before.
In the NBA, not in the
Major League Baseball.
Not in the NFL. I don't think we've ever seen it in the NFL.
I would not fire Kevin Stefanski. All I'm saying to you is, if Bill Belichick actually let it be known he wanted to finish where he started, what are you going to do? What do you do?
You keep Kevin Stefanski.
Okay. And Kevin Stefanski's awesome, does not deserve to be fired.
No.
But most of the coaches we're talking about don't deserve to be fired, but they have Belichick.
No, Nick Sirianni might deserve to be fired.
Okay, fine, him, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. He might deserve to be fired, especially if they go down and lose to the Bake Show.
All right, we're gonna continue with that. We got to do fair or foul on some of the playoff matchups for this weekend.